today because my sister is still on call. She hasn't reached home as yet from the hospital. But today, what I'm going to do for you guys is have a little bit of a question and answer, particularly pertaining to veterinary medicine. I reached out across social media and I asked individuals if they had any burning questions about studying veterinary medicine, whether it be just here in the Caribbean in general or about my experience personally. And today I have those answers for you guys, so stay tuned and I'll get through them one by one for you guys here today. Okay guys, I will leave the askers of these questions anonymous, but I will go down the list that I have here. I will post the questions across the bottom of the screen here. So without further ado, here we go. Okay, so the first question says, I'd love to know how many international students do you guys have? Well, inside of my year, there are 3 Bahamians, there is 1 student from St. Vincent, and there's also a student that is from Jamaica. However, vet school does have a wide variety of internationals. In total, I would say maybe throughout the entire faculty, we probably have like about maybe 30 or so international students. You have students that are from Jamaica, the Bahamas, St. Vincent. You have Bajans. There are also there is a student that recently graduated that was from Canada, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah. Okay, so the next question. What is student living like there? Are there halls or private rented houses? Okay, so at the University of the West Indies, you have, there are about, I want to say like about 4 different halls. The medical campus has a hall that is located right next to the hospital for convenience for students. You can stay there. However, there is an option if you would like to have off-campus housing. You can either apply directly through a realtor website, or you can seek assistance from the accommodation department at the University of the West Indies. However, whichever choice you decide, it's up to you. It's not mandatory that you do stay on halls. Like I said, I stay on halls for convenience because it's really like about a 10-15 minute walk to class every morning for me. So that's really the reason I stay on hall. It's solely for the convenience. Okay, so our next question here is, what costs do you have in an average term with regards to food, rent, equipment, or anything else on top of those fees? So with regards to rent, for the term, the hall that I stay at, the fee usually is about $1,200 US for the entire school term, for the fall semester, and for the spring semester or winter semester that begins in January and spans to like about May. The fee is usually around $1,100 US. With regards to food, I can cook. So I usually cook my meals. I try not to buy out as often, but I usually spend like anywhere between $150 to $200 US in the food store per month. When it's closer to exam time, I usually do not do plenty cooking, as I spend most of my time studying and time gets away from me, and sometimes I do forget to eat, believe it or not. Yeah. Okay guys, so our next questions here, I'll answer them both because they kind of tie into one another. What is mental health support like, and what is disability support in general like? I'll answer the disability question first. The person that asked, they did not specify whether it is physical disability they were speaking of or if it was from a mental capacity. But Physical disability wise, everything is accessible. If an individual has any physical disabilities, they won't be at any disadvantage. However, with regards to mental stability, as far as I know, because there is an individual that is actually in my year, I will not reveal his name. I would keep that confidential, but they have a disability and they were required to get signed documentation from a certified physician to state what exactly was the issue with the individual. And as a result, the school, what they do is when we have examinations, the individual would be granted extra time frames due to his disability. When we're taking exams, they start before us to allow them to have ample time to complete their assessments. Well, in terms of mental health, studying medicine, regardless of whether it's veterinary medicine, dentistry, pharmacology, studying at a tertiary level can be stressful, regardless of what it is that you are studying. And university, they do provide on a weekly basis. You have therapists that you can go and talk to if need be, that are situated on the medical campus as well as on the main campus where other courses are carried out. And there is a private sector that you can go to on certain days if you need be, speak to a therapist, and I find it to be very helpful. It's very fun. Okay, so our next question here. Okay, well, I'll tell you guys what. I will tie in two of these questions together because these two can kind of be answered at the same time. So the first question is, how long is your program? And the second one is, what's your curriculum like? So the DVM program at the University of the West Indies, which is currently only offered at the St. Augustine's campus inside of Trinidad, is a 5-year program. It's a self-directed learning curriculum. It's split into paraclinical and clinical years. The first 3 years are paraclinical, and the final 2 years are our clinical years. So in the first 3 years, what we do, we have skills regularly throughout the 3 years, and we basically get a base knowledge of anatomy, physiology, medicine, surgery, and we get exposed to the different paths of veterinary medicine that we can take inside of our paraclinical years. And in the clinical years, the curriculum becomes more hands-on, I would say. So we have rotations, rounds, but we do still have classes and we do still have exams to take. Okay, so my next question here is, what's your clinical rounds like? Do you guys have to work in the college hospital itself, or can you intern at other clinics? Okay, as far as I know, we have to complete our clinical rounds and rotations at vet school. What they do is they split us up into smaller groups, and basically, for example, Group A would be on a small animal rotation. Group B would go to work in the exotics department. Group C would work with the aquatics department. And then you have Group D, Group E, so on and so forth. They get split into the different departments that the university has. And after, you're only with each rotation for, I do believe it is 4 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And after the 4 weeks is up, you carry out an examination. Once the exam is complete, you move on to a different rotation, and throughout the year, you just rotate through rotations while also still carrying out your classroom learning of the various fields of veterinary medicine. Okay, so our next question here is, what is for extracurriculars in your college? Okay, so well, at UE, what the FMS usually does, we have sports days, and vet school themselves, they have their own sports day outside of the regular Faculty of Medical Science sports day. There are sport events that take place. You can partake in the basketball team, the football or soccer team. You can carry out track and field. You know, there are on-site gyms if that's more what you're into. Or if you like me, you know, I just pick up a good book and call it a day. You know, but there are options that are out there. You know, there are clubs that you can join if you want to get involved with volunteer work. That's an option. There are flyers posted all around the Faculty of Medical Sciences throughout the various departments. In vet school, you can volunteer. Okay, my next question here, do you guys have an International Veterinary Student Association chapter? Okay, we actually are in the process of starting our chapter. This upcoming semester will be the first. It's our inaugural semester of being a part of IVSA. We recently held elections, and as far as I know, it's supposed to kick off when the semester begins on September 7th. Okay guys, so my next question here is, do you need a prior degree? Well, my good friends, the answer is no. You do not need a prior degree to enroll in the veterinary program at the University of the West Indies. You just need a high school diploma with a satisfactory grade point average, I would say. But I do think it would be nice for individuals, especially if you've graduated at a very young age, to enlist in some college courses at some point prior to coming to vet school, so you can get a feel of the difference between high school and tertiary level education. Because speaking for myself personally, if I were to come straight to the University of the West Indies at the age of 18, well, I finished high school when I was 16, so to just hop up 2 years later and come straight to medical school, it would have been quite a bit of a shell shock. And I think getting some prior experience and understanding the difference between a teacher and a lecturer would be beneficial to anybody that's studying anything at the next level. Okay, so our next question here, is it easy? Well, let me get back to that. We'll answer that one last, because the answer to that question is not a simple yes or no. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Okay guys, so our next question here. Would being a vet tech help you get into vet school? For me personally, attending the University of the West Indies, had I been a vet tech prior to enrolling, it would not have been advantageous to me at all, not even in the slightest bit. I would not have been placed a year ahead because I was a vet tech. I would have still ended up in my first year. You know, as far as I know, would not have been omitted from any courses. As a matter of fact, there actually was somebody, she no longer is in the program, but her being a vet tech, from what she told me, it did help her to have a wider knowledge, you know, and a bit of a better understanding when it came to lectures the first time around, as opposed to everybody else who, you know, had to learn everything from scratch, essentially. So I think, had I been a vet tech prior to coming to vet school, it would have just been advantageous in terms of wider knowledge base for myself. That's really about it, to be honest. Okay, so our next question here is, when should I start getting exposure and experience if I want to get into veterinary medicine? The answer is literally right now. Get up, find a vet, ask them if you can volunteer, even if it's only on the weekends. If small animals are not your thing, fine. Go to the zoo, ask them if you can volunteer there. You know, the more exposure to animals you have, the better an idea you'll have on what kind of vet you want to be when the time comes. Because you don't want to be in a position where you're in your 5th year and you still can't decide, well, wait, I mean, I like cats and dogs, but I don't want to cut a cat or a dog open. But you're going to have to one day, maybe, to save its life. Then what? You know, maybe, you know, you think you're afraid of reptiles. Who knows? You go and volunteer and find out you actually love them. You find them adorable, perhaps. Who knows? You never know. That's why it's best to get exposure and experience as soon as possible. Go out there, volunteer. You won't regret it, I promise you. Okay guys, so my next question here is, what kind of practice are you interested in? Okay, before I went to vet school, literally the only thing that enticed me were cats and dogs. Like, I kid you not. Like, I'm not even playing. I have literally had, I've lost count of how many animals I've had. I have had cats, dogs, turtles, fish. I even had a pair of canaries at a point. I've had pigeons. I don't know, before you know, a pigeon as a pet? Oh, that's weird. A little bit, yeah, but I've had them before. And honestly and truly, it's still cats and dogs for me. Like, small animal medicine is really where I see myself. However, there was a point in time, you know, after my 1st year where I was open to the possibility of becoming an equine vet. However, when I thought about it, I'm this big. Horses can be up to this big. Yeah, I would not take too kindly to having a broken anything. Yeah, so I kind of, you know, decided small animals, for sure, you know, final answer. That's it for me right there. Alright, so my last question, guys, is, oh, excuse my little guard dog. It's okay. How do I deal with it? Well, I have a great support system, you know, not just my parents and my lovely sister that I have this channel with, who I love so much, you know, they mean the world to me. I have great friends that, you know, they check up on me time to time. Hey, how's school going? You know, do you need a vent? Do you need to talk? I'm here for you. And I appreciate you guys. And of course, my small circle of friends that I have at school with me in Trinidad. You know, we have game nights, we go out to see movies, we sometimes cook for and with each other on weekends. We have movie nights, order pizza, make pastries. Oh my gosh. I have this friend, Vernon, he makes deep fried Oreos, and when I tell you they are amazing, they are literally to die for. Literally the highlight of our movie nights when we have them are his deep, like, oh my god, oh. If you guys haven't tried, like, deep fried Oreos, what are you doing with your life? Like, you guys need to try it, okay? It's amazing. I promise you guys. Will not regret it. They taste fantastic, okay? And now, for real, my last question for reals this time is it easy? And the reason I saved this one for last is because there's no simple answer to whether or not vet school is easy. But I will say this. Vet school is going to be what you make of it. If you're a person that just expects the knowledge to sit in your lap and you figure you can cram and get by, then no, vet school is not easy. You need to find a way that works best for you, where you can be able to learn and naturally recall information, because memorizing, it does not work. Not when it comes to vet medicine. The amount of information that you have to take in is far too vast for you to decide, oh yeah, I'll just, cram this and get by. Next semester comes, I'll cram this and get by. Vet school is set up where every semester is in fact a continuation of the previous semester. And in order for you to build on previous knowledge, you can't cram it. You have to learn it, understand it, dissect it, and put it back together in ways that best fit for you to be able to recall. I'm starting my 4th year, and without my support system and my very unique study methods, I would call it, no, I don't think vet school would be easy. I think I would have had far more sleepless nights than I've had. Alright, thank you guys so much for tuning in today with me through this Q&A segment. Just a little heads up, I do have a little something in the works. If you're a vet or a vet student, pre-vet, vet tech, and you want to share your story about your journey, feel free to email me at the email that will be down below right here. Send me a video clip or a few of your story if you want to get featured here on the Vet Chronicles that I have coming up. I look forward to hearing from you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Hit that like button. Hit subscribe if you haven't. I don't know why you haven't. If you haven't, do it. Do it right now. Right this instant. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that share button. And ring that notification bell. See ya!